All right, so let's do a short session on what are some of the things that you have to think about as an inker. So as an inker, as opposed to like a penciler, you have, obviously you're working with ink. With pencils, like you can sketch in kind of loose stuff, and I think that you don't necessarily have to like define it, because the viewer's eyes will kind of connect the dots. So let's say, for example, let's say her hair here. Like the penciler can just go in with like the pencils and do an area where they can just do side of the brush and just do kind of rough sketches, and not necessarily like really define everything. So this is where, as the inker, you kind of you can't really replicate that with the same way with your ink. It has to, you have to finish it basically. So the decision making is, do you go, and I think the number one thing to remember is you have to be familiar or learn about the penciler's language first of all, like how they ink themselves, if they've inked themselves before, or they do, every penciler kind of has a language. So you're kind of, you're carrying over what they're doing. How would they finish it if they had to ink it? Some pencilers ink themselves, some don't. So that's that's for you to decide, or that's for you to figure out, is how to finish it. So right here, let's just say we can see, it could be, there could be space right there. It could, it could be like solid. So that's her hair, obviously, and she has wavy hair. So let's go. We can do like black, large black areas first, and then you can kind of define the curls. And from there, you can do solid black and just go with that. Just remember to kind of follow the flow of her waves. And so where it's kind of grayish, you don't know, is it like just, pencil smudge, or is it actually something? And that is, you either ask the penciler, or that's your call to make. So you can go, dang it. Sorry. You can go solid and leave it solid, or as a style thing, you can do more, add little fine lines. Do you do that, or do you leave it solid? What fits the style best? That's for you to kind of play around with or figure out. So that sometimes it's the tough call to make, and that, I think, is probably, it's definitely more difficult than just learning how to control your tools, is understanding the penciler's language and finishing them properly. I mean, so that when it's finished, it looks like it was meant to be that way, and that's exactly how the penciler meant for it to be finished in ink. So you can do a little more like detailed like that, or like I said, leave it just solid black and solid white like that. Dun, dun. Or you can even go, let's go to the other side. More feathery. So there's lots of different ways you can go about it. And if you guess wrong, you're fired. So there you go. That's your incentive. Just kidding, but not really. So to me, that part is more, let's see, more difficult, more challenging than learning how to use the tools or to make pretty lines, is knowing how to finish the pencilers just right, because what they'll do is a lot of like sketchy stuff or kind of gray tone, or like just a quick scratchy side of the pencil, gestures that you have to kind of pull together, because you really can't do that in ink. Like even for her hat here, let's see, it can be solid black. We'll do solid black for one side. Solid black, and then let's do, of course, it's just like a little feather. Do your little feather. So you have that. Just a little subtle detail difference. So we'll do that for that side. I'm doing it really fast. And this side, let's go. Sorry, you guys. Okay, this side, let's go. Okay, I'm going to attempt a dry brush with a brush that isn't quite dry. So let's see how this goes. So another way to go is I'm going to do a quick side dry brush here. Okay, so there's a little bit of a dry brush thing going into, and then still do the feathers. That's my dog snoring. You're kind of accomplishing the same thing, kind of like a faded, like a gray tone fade into black. But because we have a little bit of like a, you can do, it's like a dry brush effect, or it just kind of gives it a little bit more of I don't know, a gray, a different kind of fade, whereas this is more like simpler, just black feather, that. And this you can also do this way. Oh, see, now my brush is dry. So you can do something like this too, where instead of like a dry brush, still the same effect, you can have a gray by using these lines. It's not like cross hatching, but just another set of lines. And then do your feathering, real bad feathering. Fade it into black. So different ways of doing that little thing, and what you choose is sort of you decide that based on like kind of understanding the penciler style. So, and the number one thing to do is, if you ask them, talk to your pencilers talk to your inkers. So that's my number one tip. But it's like little subtle things that you do that's slightly different from one inker to another, from one style to another, and even the same inker might decide to do different things depending on the pencils they get and the style of the pencils. You know, some will be better off with something really simple like that, and others, you're better off, you know, like just having something a little more intricate, more line, more rendering, more cross hatching, or you know, just the details is finished different based on what else is going on the page, what kind of style you're working with. Kind of follow the penciler's lead. That's my suggestion. So inking is just a whole bunch of small intricate details that adds up to a lot more of a cohesive look, that looks like it's not an interruption to what the pencilers laid down, and you want to finish the pencils as if the penciler finished themselves. You know, to me, like an inker is just a really good assistant to the penciler. They don't have time to finish the art in ink. So, you know, it's going back to the whole tracing thing. You can't trace. You really have to redraw everything in ink, and that's kind of, I think that's the only proper way to really ink, or you know, to finish it properly. It sounded like I said the S word, but I didn't. Okay, guys. Hopefully that answers some question, and see you next time. Bye.